years. I've lived here since 1948. I consider myself a lifelong resident. Even though I was only 6 months when we moved here. My dad was superintendent of schools, thus the building name changes. And this year, I lost a lot of faith in this district when they decided they were going to change the building name, okay, from honoring my father, who worked in this district, you know, for 25 years, to a different name just because they could. And I lost a lot of respect for the board and district personnel personally in my own building that didn't bother to tell me. I feel for the family, I really do. I've known Neil as long as all those other teachers. I've known Mike Egan when he first came here as a teacher. So would I write a letter of leniency for a person that committed not one pre-count of CSC, along with computer crimes and everything else? I mean, no. I had several asked, and I said, don't go. Some didn't listen. Next question is probably, how can you punish them? I'm going to give you the clue. Your past EA president, I understand. I honestly understand our contract, understand the board policies, understand good friends with Mike Flanagan, the state superintendent, good friends with Steve Cook, NEA president. I know their legal counsel very well. Will the legal counsel jump in and support teachers like this? That's questionable. But here's what I'm telling you. The way that you're going to, I hate to say hurt, the way you're going to impact this district is by refusing to put your children in harm's way by putting them in those classes. You're not going to make any impact trying to go the legal route. Dan kind of played that as he goes up. I don't think that will happen. What I see happening is that by refusing to have your child in the classroom. Now, I know that one of the teachers is moving from here to teaching a writing enrichment class. That writing enrichment class last year for the past 3 or 4 years has been a 5, 6, 7, 8 program. Now all of a sudden it's all listed there as 7, 8. I would hesitate. You know, that. If your kids are going into high school, it's going to be tough. And I had mixed feelings about Tony. I really did. And those feelings I'm not going to express. What, you know, that's one of their only English teachers at that level. You have another teacher moving from here, a part of that same group, that is going to teach all 7th grade math classes. Hurt? How do you hurt them? How do you let them know that you're dissatisfied? Refuse to have your kids in those classes. That is going to put the pressure where the pressure belongs. Not on the principal, not on the counselors, on the Board of Education. And if they refuse, I think you have some grounds right there. And
what kind of grounds though? Like Ms. Erickson, if there's no other English, 10th grade English class teacher.
What you're going to do is you're going to force them to create another.
It's the will of the people. Yeah. We're the people and we want the will. And we have the will if we stick together to make it happen.
You're gonna force them to find another 7th grade math teacher. And you have an excellent math teacher right here teaching physical education. Okay? You're gonna make them load up 1 4th grade room or 4 4th grade rooms differently than you would the other ones. Because one of the parents had a 4th grader, and I know one of the teachers is going in the 4th grade. But what I want to tell you, your teachers in this district, at least the ones that I've known for years and trust, with my own kids, with my grandkids, are excellent teachers. This district has good teachers. Adam said on the Facebook page, don't judge one with all, because I know the teachers that work in Rose City, and I know the teachers who work at Ogemaw Heights, and I know the teachers who work in West Branch. And we have a lot of good teachers. We have some people that really made a very poor judgment. What I am going to tell you is something that came from the inner side of this, and that is that if Leo's attorney had not filed a motion for leniency and attached those letters, you would have never seen those letters. So I want to thank that attorney, because that really helped. That would never happen. And I know that, I can't tell you the source. I do know that, looking at his picture online, and somebody said, well, he'll get his in general population. He will never see general population. But guess what? There are enough in where he's going to be segregated that will make him pay.
It's not gonna hurt anybody's feelings, so you won't ever
Pardon?
see it. It's not gonna hurt anybody's feelings, so you won't ever see that again.
No, but I'm just saying, that's where it's going. I have a good friend that counsels there part-time, and I'm not gonna call him and say, hey, he's coming, put out the word, because that's, the word is gonna get out. You know, jails have TV, and, you know, they have computer access. They can look up an inmate incoming. They know how. So it's gonna be a tussle.
Is there a way the school system can monitor what these guys are doing on the computers at school?
We have a,
There should be a way that if they're on any site other than the school stuff, that they should be able to take care of it right then.
you gotta realize, for 15, almost 20 years, I worked the technology program in the middle school and developed a lot of it. We have probably one of the best filters in any
If they're doing
educational
their
setting.
banking or whatever, that's not schoolwork. They
No,
should, you know,
but
should
they-
get something done right away with their.
They can only block so much, and they block a lot. We have, the filter, the name of the company that provides filters is called Barracuda. They're based out of Ann Arbor. They're one of the largest filtering companies in the state, if not the largest. They are by far, and I've looked at other ones, they are by far the best. The best filter, okay, at home, you already know that's you. The best filter in school is a teacher in a computer lab that will get up and walk around and check what's going on. I know in my old lab, I had a total screen monitor. In other words, I could monitor.
I don't mean that just for them, I mean the teachers themselves. Because
Teachers,
how did this get out in there? See what I'm saying? If there was some way to monitor what's going on there, this should have been caught a while ago.
It should have already been red flagged as soon as we hit the website.
they run somewhat unfiltered.
We could be
Maybe
so
that should be-
involved with filters that we don't get the job done, and that's teaching the kids.
Yeah,
So
and that's,
there has to be a certain amount of trust in those people that are hired to do that job.
Right, I understand that, but maybe something that if they get onto something, something pops off, the principal or somewhere's sends an alert to something.
you gotta realize, if it was 10 years ago where you had teacher computers, you go back 20 years where there was one computer that had internet access in each building. We've come a long way. We have hundreds of computers.
Put it in something.
Yep, and it's to filter a specific site for a teacher. They can do that. You can make that request. But is it really gonna do? And for them to monitor everything, you may have to go. Are they just throwing you out?
Right.
See, I've worked in Rose City. I was on the Rose City Fire Department for years. I worked with Max Garnett as a reserve officer here. So I'm quite familiar with Rose City. And I actually chose to work here in the fire department rather than West Branch, because I like the guys better.
They're a good bunch of guys.
Yes, they are. They are a great bunch of guys. And what you probably don't know is I certified when I was 55 years old. Oh, yeah. So, you know, you gotta keep up the fight, you know, group tonight, group on Monday night, and call your friends and neighbors. Ask them to show up. Call your enemies, you know, anybody at this point to show up to show that strength, as John put it. It is that strength that is going to make the change that you want.
I have a question. So you say that it's, you know, refuse or whatever. What's that first, who's my first, you know, who's my first call? What do I do?
If you want your child out of the classroom, the protocol is to email the principal. Yep, in West Branch, Patsy Marshall, and I can supply email addresses for almost any of them, if not all of them. It depends on whether their server is up or down, because I still have access.
Now what happens if they say, you know, sorry, first come, first served, your spouse? Then can we go in for that hour, get our kid out, and then come back after that hour? So if it comes down to that, that's our next, if they refuse.
I've had, don't laugh, I've had parents that have done that to me. Did I like it? No. Did I honor it? Yes. Did I grade the child down for not being there? No, I didn't give them a grade. You know, there are ways around almost everything. But yeah, it creates havoc in a school day when things like that happen. You know, but again, the first line would be, I want my kid out of that class, and you just be adamant about it, and you just keep hammering.
Then do you go to anywhere else? And do you go to the board with that too? If the principal denies me?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Go to everybody.
Yeah,
See
you're-
everybody.
Yeah, you're gonna end up. Here's
It's
where
the
you're
old adage, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and you want to be the squeaky wheel.
You're probably gonna end up in what they call the Administrative Review Committee. And trust me, I've been there several times. Because I disagreed with what my principal had done. And so I took it before the Administrative Review Committee. I'm gonna say probably 99 9/10% of the time, it doesn't go any further. But you have other needs. You can go further than that. You can make your plea to newspaper. You can make your plea to TV5. They're very listening ears. 9 and 10, you know, are all, you know, very listening people, and they will examine it. I mean, you know, that's why they're here tonight, is they want to know what's going on. And like I said, if you're here on Monday night, that's even better. The site that we have out there, the Blogspot site, whoever put that together is a very sharp person. They've done a very good job with that. I accused one of my former colleagues of doing it. He can't be here tonight. And he said, well, yeah, in that case, I'll take the credit. But I know he doesn't. And when you go...
Facebook page.
Pardon?
No, I'm talking about the one where you can like the letters leaning.
Oh, that, okay.
If you just take a look at his picture in there, he is not a happy camper. And if you go and read where he's at, that is not a pleasant place, which is fine. Because when he hits Jackson Prison, that is even a much scarier place. And how do I know that? I've been in there. I actually went in. I went in with my buddy who's a counselor. They allowed me in. It ain't a nice place at all. And you know, it's like everything else. The towers have sharpshooters in them, so they do know how to shoot. You know, if you go up to Marquette, you'll see that. Yes, ma'am. Oh, no, I
Going
rambled.
back to what she said, the process, because I think the process is gonna be important, that we do it
Process
right.
starts with principal. You may,
Counselors too?
Wait, my question actually is if we actually say, okay, my kid has 7th grade with this lady in math, a course that she needs.
okay,
She's not going in that one, and if there's no alternative, she's just gonna go to the study hall or go sit in the office or something, do something for that hour. How is that gonna affect her overall school?
She's not gonna be graded.
She's not gonna be graded, right?
not to be graded. They can't grade. I would say we have to have enough people to actually make that work. And so what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to, for classmates, you should know their parents. And you're gonna want to use that to help make it unbearable. It starts with, again, you can make a request to the counselor. I may say at this point, I've talked to the counselor. Okay.
Is there a way that if they don't take that class, that you could talk with someone and have them be able to take their math while they're in the study hall or in the office so they don't lose that credit?
You gotta realize that we teach not a general math class at 7th grade. It's more algebra based. And as you hit 8th grade, it is
Right.
algebra.
Right.
And so, unless you're willing to provide them with a tutor, which they probably won't do, it would be, I'm not gonna say for some of these kids, it's a snap. For other kids, it would be tough. And that's being honest. But you start with the counselor. I may even bypass the counselor, go directly to the principal. The next step would be, if you're refused, would be to the superintendent. After the superintendent, I think you have the ability to present it at a board meeting. Generally, they want to get you into the administrative review routine. And you may end up going there and get denied there. Chances are you would. And then you just have to bring it before the board in the opening time when they allow you to speak. And you just have to hammer it. And you want, just not you want a group behind you to give them that support. They don't like what's going on here. They're really worried. And if Mike Egan isn't worried, he should be. You gotta realize, Mike was our local association president for over 20 years.
Has there been an actual written recall petition started? It's just the online.
I saw some language, I don't know if that, it's been presented to the clerk, John?
On August 6th, they're having a meeting at the courthouse to make sure that all of the language is properly ordered.
And that you may find, as I think Gary Clacking said, it's going to be very interesting.
Yes.
Uh,
They've changed that, I don't know if it was this year or last year, it doesn't matter. Instead of the normal 90 days, it's now just a 60-day window to get all of those signatures
And
back.
that's-
So everybody wants to be ready for
You
that.
got roughly 2,300 signatures, and you can't duplicate people. You got to make sure they're registered voters in the county. I've not done a recall petition, but I do know the process. And once you get to that board level, that you have to hammer them every Monday night or whatever, that's when you call TV5 and say, hey, we got this going on. What do we do? Can you help me with this? You grab onto every resource that you have. You got to realize, folks, I'm not the only teacher that supports this group. I may be the only vocal teacher at this point, but you have a lot of teachers that honestly believe that what's going on here is not right. And I've talked to some of your former teachers from here, very, very knowledgeable. You had one of your retired teachers, actually two of your retired teachers out of this building that wrote letters for you. And I'm gonna tell you, I befriended both of them on Facebook and told them why. I don't wanna be friends with you if you're,
I was surprised that the one did.
no, I really honestly, here's what I believe. They were told by the attorney, and I'm blowing smoke. They were told by the attorney that these would be kept confidential. I was good friends with Max Garnett, very good friends. I wrote a letter for him that went directly to the judge. It was never made public. But I would not hesitate to pass it around, because what I said, I believe was true. Okay? What these people did was not right. Friendship or not, it is putting themselves in harm's way. They now are under the microscope, and they should be. Don't get me wrong. I would not support them. I honestly disbelieve, and I may call Steve Cook on Monday and say, you know what's going on in West Branch Rose City? Are you aware? What do you think's going to happen if this goes this way? And, you know, I'm not going to advertise what he tells me, but Steve and I have been good friends for a long time. I've been good friends with Iris Salters, who is the outgoing president. Good friends with the vice president, the secretary treasurer. I've worked at the state level for MEA. And I'm not bragging, but, you know, I'm well respected down there. Yes, ma'am.
The majority of these teachers assigned these letters, wrote letters, are the ones that are lying. And I have a granddaughter going over there next year. And if she has each one of those, say 7 of those teachers for 7 different classes, can my son and daughter-in-law write about each class and say they don't want her in any?
You're gonna find that you can, again, power in numbers. You can go and do the proper channels, you know. This one, I think if you want to stretch it out, you'd go through the counselor. If you want to speed it up, you'd go through the principal. I would never, ever bypass steps, okay, except possibly in this case, the counselor. I would not go directly to the board president, who, by the way, is a former teacher and a former EA president in this district. I'm not going to tell you who I did and didn't vote for, but anyway, that's a hint. What you do that process step by step, and the purpose of that is to slow it down, so that maybe you have some second thoughts. They should know after Monday night that there are no second thoughts. They should know after Monday night that you are serious about what needs to be done. You know, how do you punish somebody who has done something wrong and you can't get at them? Okay, there you go. There's how you do it. You show them by making these requests, demanding this happen.
Request should be in writing?
Here's illegally.
You can do it verbally, but you should follow it up with written.
All it's verbally, but I would also follow it up with an email or a letter. And
They can always say the email didn't go through.
yeah,
They can do that.
I tell you
know
what,
that.
they're switching over to a new email system. Art probably already has, because I can't get in. Because they knew I was coming tonight.
Yeah, they did kind of.
And you can always double check. There is a way to check to make sure it gets
They
through.
can always,
I have,
but always follow up with
yeah, I
writing.
have sent an email to the principal, both principals, Rose City and Centerline, and the superintendent requesting my children not to be in this class, actually demanding. It's not an option, is what I explained to them. And I have a read receipt on my email, so I know they opened it and I know they read it. And I printed it off and I stapled
But you
it.
got nothing back.
I have nothing back.
Well,
And that was since Friday though that I sent it.
You gotta realize, the Rose City principal, as well as the Centerline principals and Ogemaw Heights principals won't be in until
Right.
about 2 weeks before school starts. So if you flood their inbox,
Eventually it'll get full.
eventually, the new
They'll all
one,
be there Monday.
they're using Google Mail, Gmail, so it's not gonna flood. And if you have their address from last year, okay, it is the same address this year. They're not changing the addresses. So it's, it's set up. If you don't know it, you can call and ask.
The feelings that I had with the school in removing the teacher, shouldn't you also ask that your complaint or your withdrawal of student from that class be requested to put into that teacher's personnel file?
Document and so forth.
Here's the whole thing with personnel. First of all, they are, in this day and age, they are open. You can FOIA, you really don't have to. If you mention the word FOIA, you can't. Okay, we're taking care of it. And you will get your personnel file up to an extent. And that extent is you're not going to get some of their references from college. But you will get their evaluations, you will get their background, where they went to school, you might even get the credit that they have. And that's like, you may have to pay for the copying charge, which is, that's minimal. But that, can I say this?
Go ahead, we'll tell you.
Okay. That will scare the living crap out of me if somebody did
Yeah,
that.
you can say that.
Okay? It would. Personally, has it ever been threatened? Yeah. Was I worried? Yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yes. So there's another means. Thank you. That you can apply pressure where pressure needs to be applied. Yes, ma'am.
How do the teachers feel in the middle school if a parent walks in and wants to sit in the classroom for a while?
I've never had a problem with that. My philosophy of teaching, John probably, that's a good idea. My philosophy of teaching, I don't care whether you're in my classroom or not, I'm still going to be me.
Well,
I'm not gonna act.
any different.
No.
But the point of it is, if you feel uncomfortable with your student being in a teacher's classroom, and you can't get them switched, the best bet is to go in and watch them.
I think I'm kind of, that's a defeatist attitude to me, and you don't have to agree with me, but I think we're here to make sure that we don't have to send our kids to these teachers' rooms, and I think that we need to maintain that composure or that attitude.
Right.
And make sure that we do whatever's necessary to have
But we
that
want to
happen.
make sure it never happens in the school.
See, I
Not
have
just with
grandchildren.
these
My
teachers,
children give me
but with
children.
teachers
I don't
in the
want to be part
future,
of it.
because you never know.
But there's also a lot of parents that can't make it to the school.
Sit there as a parent, you're, the only one that you're really going to get at is your child.
Right.
Your child, you're actually, I'm not saying demeaning, but demoralizing or all of those, but pretty close because they are very self-conscious in middle school. Middle school, I realize I've taught 2nd through 8th grade. I worked with adults in adult education. I worked in the jail program. I know what it's like to be locked in a cell for 4 hours, not let out. They finally let me out, but they didn't want to let me out. So, I've had all these experiences. What you don't want to do is you don't want to embarrass your child. That self-esteem at that age level is very fragile. I know by some of the comments that I made to kids and watch their face, and then back up and walk up and say, hey, I really didn't mean it that way. I apologize. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. Not because I know the parent's going to come in anyway and says, why did you say that? I said, I apologize. I said, I know it was wrong. When I said it, it came out and it didn't come out the way I wanted to. Yes, ma'am.
If anything, what concerns the ones that are. I'm not.
Okay, the retirees, you're not gonna touch unless this continues to take heat from the paper and so on and so forth. The current, to punish them, yeah, there is nothing that you can grab in the school policies. There's nothing you can grab at the state level, because state level is our guidelines. You're not gonna grab anything out of their contract. There is a clause in there that deals with unprofessional behavior for folks. Would I deem that as unprofessional? No. Do I deem it as wrong? Yes. And so, punish them, how do you punish them? I think I kind of hit that tonight. You ask for your kid to be removed out of the class. You demand they be removed out of the class. And you tell the reason. And, you know, and you hammer it. You find more people to back you up. You hammer it. You take it to the news. You take it, you know, as far as you can take it, and then continue. You don't stop. You become relentless. They'll get the hint. I think they'll get the hint Monday. Yes, ma'am.
Where do we go to get a copy of their contract?
Contract is on the website.
Okay.
If you're unsure of how to get there, you call Deb Abraham. Why do I memorize numbers? 343-2001 is your direct in. And you say, how do I get there? Now, you can read the contract. Evaluation is in there. You can, you know, realize that evaluation of teachers anymore is going to eventually be a statewide evaluation form, I believe. And our district chose to use a different method, you know, and it was semi-bargain, and I'm going to tell you who semi-bargained it. He's in jail. Okay? I didn't agree with it because it is a very open-ended. I do know that there were a few teachers in Rose City that were on IDPs. I heard something about individual development plans, which they generally put non-tenured teachers on. You had some tenured teachers over here. We had some tenured teachers in West Branch. We had tenured teachers at the high school. This is their way of getting rid of them. Now, can you request as an individual that they be put on an IDP? No. So, but that's coming. John?
I know that what we're talking about right now is important because we have to end this, but I read on site a little bit about maybe having a spokesperson or several. I'm thinking that there should be about everybody that wants to speak should use their time limit, just simply because one or two people speaking for everybody doesn't have the same emphasis as everybody speaking for themselves.
I think you want to have some people that are key to hammer the points home. Then those people that want to speak on their own behalf, that's fine. You know, I know that Lori and John definitely, what I watched, they did an excellent job. What I would watch is again, going back to the Facebook routine, I would watch making sure that what you post on there is truthful. If you take, for example, one of the letters and you comment about that, great. What you want to hammer home is that in your opinion, you feel by doing this, they have condoned what he did. And that's the way I looked at it. They have condoned. Knowingly knowing whether you're friends with him or not, he's a convicted sexual offender. And when they say, I don't think he was a predator, BS.
What about the
Look up the
mistake?
definition.
He made a mistake.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah,
such a
you're-
predator
yeah.
that he had all of them.
I see that pretty much.
And I
Everyone said he made a mistake.
I messaged a couple of the people that made comments on there, because I know a couple of those people that are on your page have gone to the principal about a teacher, in this case, the teacher, and complained about something they didn't like. And I'm sorry, I apologize. A lot of that got swept under the carpet because of the principal that you have. You know, not the
It's only
superintendent
illegal
necessarily.
when they catch you.
The principal that you had swept a lot of
It's
that
only
under the
illegal
table.
when they catch you and prove it.
No, if I go to a principal.
Well, it's
and
illegal
say,
to
"I
drive
think this-"
55, but you gotta get caught and get a ticket before it's actually illegal.
I know, but I guess my point is why if, and I've heard exactly what you're saying. Some parents before have went to a principal and said, I think that this person is doing something sexually or physically or
Something
emotionally
improper. Yeah, I think the word is
They're supposed to call
improper.
CPS.
Again, they are supposed to do an investigation. I don't think some of those were investigated. Again, I'm going back, personal opinion. But the downside for me is I ran against him as EA president, as sitting EA president, and lost. And I'm going to tell you, I lost out of 130 plus votes. I lost big. And so, I mean, big. We're talking, I think I got 20 votes.
They didn't want you there.
They didn't want me there. And I'm a very forceful person. I have my beliefs and I stick to them. I do my job. And that's what I always told them. I said, as EA president, I do my job. They just didn't like me doing my job because they didn't like being told, oh, you didn't do your job. I do my job. Why don't you do your job? And that doesn't work. I think I lost some votes in the election because of that too. But
Are they changing the name
I'm
of the
staunch.
school?
John knows me probably better than most, probably more than he wants to know some days.
Sometimes.
Mr. Cottle back there knows me.
Clark?
You know me.
Oh, yeah, you
I
have
mean,
both my kids in your class.
I have a belief. I started in education actually in 1964 when I actually worked with we called an old biddy, it was Mrs. Arden. And John, this kind of giggles, but I worked with her as a student aide. She gave me the worst kids to work with, but I learned. My whole career has been around kids. I could really give a rip about the adults. I like the kids. And some kids connected with me, some kids didn't. And that's
He was old when he was my teacher.
I wasn't looking at you. I wasn't honest. You actually know one of my cousins. So I mean, I believe that. You folks have a long road. You want to stick together because it's not going to be an easy road. You're going to probably get some criticism. I don't know why anybody would criticize this group, but there will be.
You already have.
Yeah, they already have. Somebody asked me, why didn't the teachers say anything on the way out of the courtroom? At that point, whatever you say would be wrong, because you're in the wrong spot. Whatever you say. Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm gonna be in charge of taking a lot of petitions around. I keep hearing, how can the family and the victim heal if we keep bringing this out every single day to the community? How do we answer that?
They want justice. They want what's right they agree with what we are doing with this group. And I think they put that
Chances are
up.
those people are asking how can the family heal, only because very possibly they feel more trouble for the predator than they do the family.
They're
They may be
asking you
more
for
on
the
that-
wrong
that
family.
side than they are on the
Yeah, and
family
that's,
side of healing.
you know, if anybody asks you, why are we recalling this board member? Real simple. He showed up in court in support of the victim's family? No. The only one that showed up in support of the victim's family was the superintendent. And folks, whatever I think about this guy, I complimented him. I don't give out compliments very often, but I said, Dan, what you did was the right thing. And I said, I know what you did was right. And I said, I want to compliment you. And he almost fell over.
I want to say one thing too, if anyone didn't get to see the recorded board meeting when Lori confronted Mr. Egan at the board meeting,